Hey guys, what's going on? Jersey here, back again with another South Park Phone Destroyer video and a lot of exciting stuff to go over in this episode today. But really quickly, before we get started on all of this stuff, today's big episode is going to be about information and details about the upcoming theme that's going to be coming to South Park Phone Destroyer in the very near future. And because of that, all of the information that we're going to talk about, because we're actually going to be looking at all of the 10 cards that are going to be coming out into the game. But I do need to make sure that you guys are all aware that all of these cards are subject to change until the full release of the actual theme. All these cards are currently in beta testing right now. These are currently the information that we are being given by Red Links about these cards. But again, all these stats could possibly change in the future before the theme launches, so just be aware of that before we get and dive deeply into this. So this episode is going to focus on the cards themselves. We're going to look at all 10 of the cards that are currently in production or currently going to be released at this time. And we are also going to look at where your Eternity Gems that you guys have been collecting over the course of the last few months and a half or so are going to be going towards. So what can you buy with those Eternity Gems? That will be at the very end of this episode. If that's all that's all you want to see, then skip down to the end. Or if you want to see all the cards information as well, then obviously stick around for the entire episode. So we're going to look at all 10 cards and look at where your Eternity Gems are going. So that's the main thing that we're going to focus on in this episode. I'm also going to have another episode that's going to come out coincide with this, where we're going to have some actual gameplay footage of the actual cards in action as of what we can see or what we know based on the stats that we're seeing here. We're going to showcase them both in some friendly fights as well as in some actual live ladder gameplay. And this is, of course, gameplay that has been sent to us by Red Links directly. This is not going to be gameplay of me playing with those cards myself. So, if you guys want to see that video, that will be in another video that will also launch with this one as well. But let's quickly dive into these 10 cards because I am really excited to look at these cards to really give you guys my perspective on them and see kind of where we're going to go forward with this theme itself. Alright guys, so here real quick is what the new home screen most likely will look like when the new theme comes out, and obviously if you can't tell what it is based on this image here, it is going to be Superheroes. It's going to be the newest theme coming out to Phone Destroyer. You can see the Coon in here, you see Toolshed down there, Mysterion is in there, Call Girl is in there, Fast Pass, Tupperware is back there, so there are a lot of different cards here that we can already see here on the home screen. Now again, this could be subject to change, but this is what I'm assuming the home screen will look like for you guys whenever we load into the game going forward here after the update goes live. So yeah, really excited to really dive into these cards specifically, but yeah, just wanted to showcase a little teaser of what the home screen could look for us all here in the very near future. Alright guys, so we're going to look at these cards in alphabetical order, not in order of rarity or anything like that, or cost or stuff like that, but in alphabetical order of them as cards. So the first card we're going to look at, number 1, is Call Girl. In her current build as of right now, she has 7 energy cost, 200 health, and 24 base damage. She has a Warcry ability where she will summon a superhero ally from your hand, and as you can also tell by her color there, she is also a legendary card as well. So, we're looking at Call Girl here. I was kind of surprised to see Call Girl as a legendary card. She's a range card, so that sticks to the typical Wendy focus. I know that Wendy does have a Shield Maiden Wendy that is a fighter card, but all the rest of the Wendy cards are range cards. And yes, this now means that there are 2 Wendy cards that are legendary style. And this Warcry seems very interesting. So it seems like a lot of the abilities from what I've seen from these cards beforehand is that a lot of them are synergized to this theme itself. So as you can see here, her Warcry affects only that she needs other superheroes in her deck to make it work. So, and the other main focus is, as you guys are aware, there are only 10 cards being released right away when this theme goes live, which means that there will be 2 open deck slots for any other theme. So that means that you could just stockpile a bunch of superhero cards if you're lucky enough to get them to decent levels, to where then Call Girl would be viable. But if you're not going to focus on superheroes being your main theme, this card doesn't need to be in your deck whatsoever. A very high energy cost at 7 energy, but you get the value of any random superhero in your hand. So that means that it could be obviously any of the superheroes that you have available to in your deck together. So if you say only have 2 superheroes, then obviously she will only spawn the other superhero card. But honestly, I think that Call Girl, we're going to have to see based on her stats and in the gameplay footage how good she actually is. But obviously her Warcry ability is going to be extremely useful if you're using superheroes as the main theme. High energy cost, but possibly high reward as well, once more and more superhero cards start coming out within the game. But as of right now, at the form of launch, I don't feel Call Girl is going to be overpowering. but I think that she's obviously going to be extremely useful if you're going to be running superheroes as your main theme. Alright guys, coming up next is Fast Pass. So Fast Pass is an epic card here for Jimmy. It is a 3-cost energy with 211 base health and 48 base damage. He has a charged ability that targets nearest enemies and damages all enemies in his path. So, there is no kind of boost to the speed of overall units. This was something that we all assumed Fast Pass would possibly have when he was entered into the game. But remember, we already have Warboy Tweak and Hyperdrive that provide those kind of things. So Fast Pass himself doesn't change places with anybody, similar to how he functions in the Fractured But Whole. But this is a little bit different of a kind of an animation itself, but the animation itself kind of really seems to focus a little bit like what Space Warrior Token does, where he kind of dashes forward, but he does actually dash back to the same spot where he goes. So he targets the nearest enemy and dashes to all enemies in his path. It's going to be very interesting to see how Fast Pass looks. Fast Pass definitely seems fairly useful. All of these cards seem to be very decently well balanced as far as their overall stats right now. None of them seem to be extremely overpowered. I don't feel Fast Pass is one of the strongest cards right now in this theme, but he definitely has potential. I like his energy cost, only 3 energy. It seems it synergizes with all the rest of the Jimmies, and he actually seems to be very useful, other than some other Jimmies that have kind of taken a back seat in some recent, the way the current meta is structured. But I like Fast Pass as a card. He has a very useful and cool looking animation, so very excited that he is being brought in with these original 10 cards into this current theme. Guys, next we have Human Kite, which of course is Kyle. So Human Kite, 4 energy cost, 140 base health, 26 base damage. He is a flying unit, which makes sense because Human Kite, obviously he'd be flying. He has a charged ability as well as flying, where he shields allies in an area beneath him for 5 seconds, to where it's not like everybody on the field automatically gets a shield, similar to Kyle the Drow Elves, but it's very similar. So obviously being a flying unit gives him gives him an upper advantage there, because there are a lot of very strong flying units right now within the game. Obviously there are a lot more units to cancel flying units than there were in the past. I don't view him to be quite as good as Bounty Hunter Kyle, for instance, because he's not buffing anybody as far as damage output. He's just helping with survivability, similar to, so he's kind of a hybrid between Bounty Hunter Kyle and Kyle of the Drow Elves in its own right. 4 energy cost I feel like is fair. Seems a little steep though for a flying unit. Most flying units are around 3 energy cost. Obviously, you know, you got Alien Drone at 4 and Terrence Mephisto, so you have a few at 4. But it seems to be like 3 and 4 is kind of the norm generally for flying units. So I'm okay with it. His overall stats, I'm not sure where they compare to other Kyle cards on the field, but I like his shielding ability. It makes sense based on the way his lore is with his character within Fractured But Whole and things like that. So I'm okay with the way the Human Kite is looking right now, and I feel like he will be extremely useful for you in this superheroes theme. Alright guys, we have Clyde coming in with Mosquito. He is a 3-cost fighter card, 250 base health, 34 base damage. He is rare. And he has a war cry where he summons a flying mosquito swarm that heals Mosquito when it attacks. Honestly, I think Mosquito might be one of the stronger cards out of this theme based on the gameplay footage that I've seen. Now, is he overpowering with that? No. It's only 1 mosquito swarm. From what I can tell, based on how much he levels up, you don't get more mosquito swarms. It has an animation that he drops basically a jar that has the mosquito swarm that then spawns out of it. So it is very, it's not extremely unique as far as it's concerned, but the mosquito itself, I don't know the stats for the mosquito swarm itself. That obviously won't be able to be visible until we actually are able to select the actual unit on screen. But as far as I know, Mosquito himself, his stats are pretty decent, but I think his swarm is undervalued. And in a lot of the gameplay footage that I witnessed with it, Mosquito seemed to definitely have an advantage over some of the other cards within the game. The swarm should, if my memory also serves me right, will attack both ground and air units, so it would be a good counter for even someone like Human Kite, be able to counteract some of these flying units that are being added to the game. He does not fly himself. Mosquito is a ground unit because he is a fighter card. Even though there are flying fighter cards, he doesn't fly, and if he was flying, it would specify in his card description, so be wary of that. He is not flying, even though he does have wings, so you would assume he was flying. The only flying unit in this theme, as of right now, is Human Kite, from what we have seen from the footage. But yeah, Mosquito, I think, is going to be a pretty decently strong card. I like his energy cost. And, you know, it's a fighter card, which Clyde has generally been focused mostly on range unit. Dwarf King Clyde is also a fighter card, so again, kind of stays similar to what Clyde has been in the past, either range or fighter card, so I'm okay with this right now within this theme. Alright guys, I'm sure a card that many of you have been uber excited for the superheroes theme obviously is Mysterion. So Mysterion is of course Kenny. Kenny has always been an assassin card, he stays an assassin card, and he is going to be legendary. I honestly thought Mysterion would probably be epic. It makes sense that he's legendary based on his ability here. So he does have a Death Wish similar to all the other Kenny cards, and his Death Wish is he revives himself. Now his Death Wish animation is the most unique animation you will see in this theme. So he does revive himself pretty much consistently. As in, every time he dies, he then floats a little spirit across the screen that then hits your new kid. The second it hits your new kid, Kenny is back on the field and attacking again. So as you see, he has more of a focus on damage than he does health, so he doesn't seem to survive extremely well. It definitely looks like the focus is more on his stats definitely seem to gauge more towards what the common versions of Kenny are versus the epic or the legendary version of Kenny with Inuit Kenny. Inuit Kenny definitely seems to have a lot more damage and a lot more survivability than this Kenny does. But this Kenny is also extremely fast. His movement speed is possibly one of the fastest units on the field that I've seen in Phone Destroyer. I don't know specifically what they are per se, but based on the gameplay footage that you're going to see, he moves very, very, very quickly. So be wary of that. He does die. But his death animation, or his death wish itself, is very unique, very cool. Very excited that Mysterion is being added into the game. Glad he's coming in early. 5 energy cost seems kind of steep, but based on what he does, it makes sense. And in honesty, it might need to be higher than that. I would assume that maybe a 6 energy might be more viable for him based on what he does. But again, once you guys see the gameplay footage, you might see what I mean. But all in all, I think Mysterion is very good as far as a unit. I think like his stats are in a very, very good spot based on what he does with his Death Wish again, so I'm okay with the way Mysterion is looking right now. Alright guys, coming in next, we actually have a spell card. It is Super Fart. So if any of you guys have played the last two games for South Park, the Fractured Butthole and Stick of Truth, you know that there's been farting involved in those as spells, basically, and obviously a spell card needed to be a fart animation here in this game. So Super Fart pushes enemies away from the new kid and deals a base amount of damage. That damage will scale up as you level up this card, and it is derived directly from the new kid itself, and the range on it is pretty far. I believe it's from the midline, all the way from your new kid to the midline, if my memory serves me right based on the gameplay footage. So Super Fart, definitely interesting, a hilarious animation to watch your new kid just fart away units away, and it definitely seems to affect all units within a certain range, not just one unit. So that is something to take into consideration. It doesn't do an overwhelming amount of damage. It is a very cheap cost at only 2 energy. And again, is derived directly from the new kid, so none of your other superheroes on the field will do the Super Fart animation or anything like that. It is only directly for your new kid itself. But I think it's a cool animation, and I definitely feel like it could probably be a very useful spell card as well. But we'll see once it's higher leveled overall. Okay, so we have a new possible type of card being added to the game. As you can see by the icon above the card itself, the Chomper is currently a trap card. Now this may be subject to change. It may focus more into a spell or morph into a spell card, but as of right now it is considered a trap card. That is what that icon is up there in the top left if you are confused by it, because we've never seen it before. There's never been a trap style unit in the game before, but it damages and freezes enemies on contact for a base amount of damage, and it freezes them for a base amount of time. So it basically looks like a bear trap essentially, that it's going to chomp them and hit down a enemy unit. The card art for this is absolutely amazing. The graphic, which South Park Phone Destroyer has never shied away from in other card art, but the Chomper itself, remember, could change, may turn into a spell basically in the future, but as of right now it is a trap. Only 2 energy costs is kind of nice, but we don't know exactly the scaling for the damage itself and the freeze, whether or not that extends as it levels up, because this could end up being a card that could be extremely almost overpowered to some degree. I assume the freeze won't be for a very long period of time. I feel like it's more just the damage itself that's going to be there. But obviously it's going to pop up on screen for you, but your enemy will not be able to see it on screen from what I gather. So you will obviously know where the trap is, but they may not. So being strategic with where the Chomper is might be able to stop a bunch of different cards coming at you. Maybe even stop a Douglas. Who knows? Maybe, I don't know if it will probably do that amount of damage, but maybe at least slow it up enough where you can put it up at the top corners of the left or right hand side to defend against something like that could be very viable for you in a defensive strategy here within this theme. So I'm kind of intrigued to see if the Chomper stays as a trap or if it changes to a spell, but as of right now I think it could be obviously very useful for defensive purposes, obviously, going forward. Okay, so obviously we can't have a superheroes theme without the Coon, and of course Cartman has always been a tank and remains a tank here with this theme, and a new style of ability basically is being added to this. Teamwork is going to be coming in with the Coon. So he's got 684 base health, 18 base damage, and again, teamwork. So similar to what a Warcry, what an Aura, different, a charge ability, different things like that. We've had Enrage been a new style of basically ability, and now we have teamwork. So teamwork, and again, this could change, but teamwork gives him plus 16 attack for each superhero ally on the field. So similar to Call Girl, the Coon is very dependent on being superheroes with him. So as you see, his base damage is very, very low. But as a tank card, generally you're going to expect low damage output unless you're, I guess, Santa Claus. But for the most part, most tank cards are very low as far as the amount of damage output. Now, this teamwork ability does scale based on his level, so this will go up. It will go higher than plus 16 as he scales up. I believe around level 4, level 5, I believe he was getting like plus 37 or something like that, which is obviously, a very drastic change, over double what he's doing right here. So that would be something that would be obviously very useful. I'm not sure what the total amount of plus attack that he could get based on the amount of cards on the field, but generally, as a tank card, you're going to put a bunch of units around him to boost him out. So obviously, you're going to want to have as many superheroes as you can if you're going to be using the Coon to boost that teamwork up and make him that much stronger. His health scaling definitely seems to be very balanced. It's not extremely overpowering, which is probably very useful, being the fact that he could end up hitting like a Mack truck if he has enough of his allies around him or superhero allies around him to do that extra bonus damage. Plus, his damage scaling would go up even more if you had, one of the Kyles boosting him on top of that. Not necessarily Human Kite, but maybe someone like Bounty Hunter Kyle or someone like Master Ninja could be boosting that damage on top of that with the teamwork as well. So this is going to be very interesting to see some of the different combinations that people are going to come up with the Coon to make him the most effective. But obviously we had to have a Cartman card and a tank to come in with this theme coming right away, and the Coon coming as an epic doesn't surprise me. I assumed that would be the case. So yeah, that's what the Coon is looking like right now. Next card coming out is Tool Shed, so Stan, obviously, which this is my favorite card art of all the card art that's been released. I mean, how freaking awesome does that look? I'll show you a bigger image of this card art here in a minute because I love Tool Shed's card art. Red Links, touche, well done. This is my favorite card art on here. Until Professor Chaos comes, and then he better have the best card art of this whole theme. But disables an enemy trap nearby, otherwise places a Chomper. So remember, the Chomper is the trap currently, or could possibly be a spell in the future. But he disables their Chomper, or he spawns a Chomper, is his charge ability. 260 base health, 57 base damage, and 3 energy costs, and an epic card as well. So there are a lot of epic cards out of this theme coming in right now. But Tool Shed definitely looks amazing on his card art himself. As far as the stats, definitely seems interesting to be able to cancel out a Chomper yourself or place one. Obviously, you're going to know where his Chomper is going to be because it's going to be placed behind him when he has the charge ability to cast it. So that's something to keep into consideration. Obviously, you're not going to be thinking about that maybe all the time during the middle of a fight, but you could know possibly whether or not, with Tool Shed being out there, that you could have that compromise for you, or you could be in a problematic situation wherever he placed his on the battlefield for him. So that's also obviously something to consider consideration, but it's cool to see Stan coming in here. And yeah, let's really quickly look at that card art blown up. That's it, a little bit bigger for you guys. I just love it. I think this card art's amazing. Just seeing this whole basically construction site behind him blowing up. He's just on this wood post and all that good stuff. This is my favorite card art for sure. Let me know what your guys' favorite card art is down below, but Tool Shed's winning it for me. This card art is really sweet. I really like it a lot. And last but certainly not least, guys, the last card of the 10 cards is Tupperware. It is a token card. He is 250 base health, 33 base damage, 4 energy cost, and it is a common card. And he is immune to all abilities, status effects, and spells. That is a default ability that he has from the beginning. He doesn't have any kind of charge or anything like that. So as you can see, this card art's really cool as well. You see kind of a mixture of poison mixed in with some other stuff. I'll show a larger image of Tupperware's card art. Tupperware comes in as a close second as my favorite card art here, but Tool Shed is just too cool for me. But Yeah, so you see, obviously Token, he's been a fighter card throughout, so he stays that way. 4 energy cost seems okay. His stats definitely seem to be a little bit beefier than some other common versions of him. Maybe I could be wrong there, but it definitely feels that way, at least with his base health stats. So he could definitely be able to take a punch or two, maybe something closer to a Calamity Heidi, but a little bit higher energy as far as something to compare him to. But I'm not really sure where he scales versus some of the other versions of Token, but I like the immunity to all abilities and stats effects. It just kind of makes sense with his Tupperware ability to be able to be immune to anything. So he can't be poisoned, he won't be frozen, so that's kind of interesting and kind of intriguing. I definitely feel like he will be a must-have in the superheroes theme. Obviously, we'll see where his stats scale to, but at least having that immunity is just extremely useful in certain situations, and I think could really bode well for him as we go along with the superhero theme. But yeah, in case you guys wanted to see it, here is a little bit more blown up version of his card art. So you can just see, I'm not quite sure who the other characters here are on screen, but you can see it's kind of a mix of the poison. It's got the toxic waste biohazard kind of cans back here. And I mean, this card is really cool. Don't get me wrong. Tupperware is really cool. But to me, Tool Shed is definitely the best card art here. But yeah. That's it for the cards, guys. That's all 10 cards here. So we're going to really quickly kind of glance at the Eternity Gems and see kind of what those are going to get for you, what the Eternity Gems could kind of unlock for you here when the new theme goes live. Here's what the premium card packs look like here currently within the store. But as we're going to click here, here's what the superhero packs are going to be looking like. Okay, so we have the 44 upgrade items from Superhero Theme and 440 coins. Or we have the 1200 Eternity Gem pack, 119 superhero cards, 31 upgrade items, at least 25 rare cards, guaranteed. It doesn't look like you get any guaranteed epic cards or legendary cards in this pack, and also 750 coins. Or you get the gold pack or the Coon pack for 2950 Eternity Gems, for 50 superhero cards, 313 upgrade items, and at least 12 rare and 6 epic cards, guaranteed, as well as 1250 coins. And then the final pack, the Call Girl pack, so the premium pack, 5,900 Eternity Gems, 94 superhero cards, 125 upgrade items, at least 12 rares, 18 epic cards guaranteed, also 1,560 coins. So we do not know how large the probability of legendary cards are going to be, so I do not know what that is actually going to be. I know that's going to be the hottest question here. How often am I going to be guaranteed something in that final pack with Call Girl for 5,900 Eternity Gems? Also, we're not 100% sure if Eternity Gems will continue to be a collectible item throughout the course of this going forward. Obviously, they could be a possibility with the fact that Eternity Gems are to be purchasable to get these packs in the first place. And you have to also take into consideration that we will most likely not have the Battle Pass completely completed, which will have packs available to get the upgrade materials and the Eternity Gems from them directly. So there will be possibly potential for Eternity Gems to continue to be a currency going forward. I'm not 100% on that, so don't quote me on that. It could be a possibility though. Or these could end up turning into cash offer packs similar to the premium packs above them in the future as well. But we don't know 100%. But let's at least watch him open a 5,900 pack just so you can kind of get an idea as far as what you can expect from these packs, possibly if you were to obtain them. Alright, so we have 1,560 coins, like we stated, 68 toxic waste, we get 38 energy drinks, 19 comics, we get 62 super farts, 13 chompers, we get 4 fast passes, and 15 coons. So no legendary pull in that one specifically, but obviously there could be potential for that. Let's see if we can find one that has a legendary pull in it. Alright guys, let's check out this pack, see if this one is any different for us. 1,560, 69 toxic waste, 37 energy drink, 19 comics, 61 Tupperware, 13 choppers, you get 11 fast pass, 8 human kites, so most likely we'll get a legendary. And there you go, you get a Call Girl there, level 3. And there you can see some of the stats, guys, as well, as far as where the leveling is. So you can see Call Girl at level 3, 422 health, 51 damage. We'll go back a little bit. We got Human Kite, 365, 69 damage there at level 4. Let's go back a little bit further, guys. See, well, so Fast Pass at level 4, 550 base health, 126 damage. We don't know what the Chomper is. Tupperware at level 4, though. We got 539 health, 71 damage. That seems like pretty decent scaling there. Obviously not a lot of damage, decent survivability, however. So that's just something to keep in consideration there with some of the card levels as well on top of that. So that's possibly what your Eternity Gems could be used for. They could be this could change. This could be something in the future that, and it could be a continuing currency possibly in the future as well, but we don't know all those answers just yet. We won't know most of them, hopefully, until the new theme goes live. Red Links will kind of divulge that information more in depth. But as of right now, this is all we know about both all the 10 cards that are going to be coming and what Eternity Gems could possibly do for you. So that is at least episode 1 of these two-parter. So in the next episode, again, we're going to be focusing on gameplay footage directly of these new cards. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys are excited about this new theme as I am. I hope this gives you a better idea of what to expect here, at least at initial launch. But thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, guys, my name is Jersey.